Let us go from talking sports with a woman who is something of an expert on sports to talking sports with a woman who is not really an expert on sports but happens to be in Las Vegas and is a veteran of the sports and entertainment industry, just more the entertainment side. I'm talking, of course, about Jodie Rocco of Milli Vanilli, and we're talking about Michael Bennett, an interesting, controversial NFL player. Jodie, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for always thinking about me, especially when it comes to Vegas, music, and now sports.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we're going to be going to you too much for sports analysis in the future, but you have. It's actually perfect that you're not a big sports fan, because Las Vegas is becoming a major league sports city. The Golden Knights are coming soon, and then the Raiders are coming in a couple years, moving from Oakland. And while it's not a direct tax on residents of Nevada, I understand that it's a big tax on tourists. And of course, if you understand economics, you know that that means that the residents of Nevada who work for the industries, the tourism industry, are essentially subsidizing the NFL. And meanwhile, you have this issue coming up. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it from the beginning. People can pause this, Google Michael Bennett if they don't know what I'm talking about. But take it from wherever you want to take it.
Well, let's start with that. The first time I heard about it. Okay, the first time I heard anything of it, I was actually on Twitter, and I read this letter that he had written, and I thought, why would somebody write that letter? Nobody had ever heard anything, and this was already almost 2 weeks later, I think, a week or 2 weeks later. And I looked at it and I said, okay, that makes no sense. Why is nobody talking about this? So there was already something very wrong with this picture.
The supposed police brutality. He wanted to talk about it, and that he was detained. And by the way, like, if it's a black suspect, I mean, yeah, you're more likely to detain someone black, just like if it's a white suspect, you're more likely to. But of course, people, who don't know it, he was hiding behind a machine and then ran away when the police were there. I mean, it was very suspicious behavior.
Let's put this into perspective, okay? First of all, it was the night of the Mayweather fight, okay? So he was not the only black guy at the Cromwell.
There were thousands there.
Number one. There were thousands, scores of black men leaving the area where the police, and if you look at the videos, which is the first thing I did, was try to find some videos. Then, of course, there were videos on TV as well, being that it happened in Vegas. There were altogether about 126 video sources that captured every concept and aspect of what happened, from the other police officers that were there with their cameras on, and whatever,
and the eyes in the sky
from the whole place. But people, if you look at the video, there's people running towards the police officers who are with their guns drawn, going in the other direction. The only time he wasn't running because he was crouched and hiding. The only time he started to run is when he saw the police officers. And when they said, stop, why in God's name would he just keep running? If you're an NFL football star, somebody tells you stop, and you're 6'4", and you're a big black guy, you have nothing to hide, nothing to stop.
It's weird.
You know you're on camera. You're in the middle of a hotel in Vegas. There's cameras everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why he wasn't running with everyone else. I mean, like, I don't know. It would be kind of dangerous.
For me, don't scream racism. This has nothing to do with racism whatsoever. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
they could have singled him out if they wanted to, because there was 500 other guys looked just like him.
Yeah, was there anyone acting as suspiciously as he did? Not that he was the suspect, but he was acting in a way that, even if he doesn't make him guilty.
There were not. Yeah. Apparently, there were not others that were acting as suspiciously. And he kept running. He ran outside. He jumped a 4-foot barrier on Flamingo Road and didn't stop until the cop got him. And now he wants to go after the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department?
Yeah, I mean, look, the guy's a jackass. I mean, first of all, he did a video on YouTube. This is about how much Black Lives Matter means to him. And he actually talked about Michael Brown, which has been totally debunked as a myth. I mean, even more to an extent than Trayvon Martin.
Those shoot never happened.
Yeah.
Tamir Rice.
I mean, so why should we believe...
Eric Garner. All these people
Well, no.
never were indicted or convicted.
But Michael Brown is at a further level than Eric Garner, where,
Right.
things could have been handled better. Trayvon Martin, actually, maybe some things could have been done differently there. But Michael Brown is a total lie, more so than the other ones. And he's citing Michael Brown.
These are the people he was talking about. When you look at what he told to TMZ, or what he said this morning on Good Morning, Good Morning America, even though he was just saying, this is police brutality. They singled me out because I'm a black man. Well, if you take everything and you put it all together, you're going to find out the guy is a little whack-jobbed.
Yeah, and Michael Brown, how can you believe anything anyone who calls Michael Brown an example of racism? It wasn't. It was totally debunked. So why should he have any credibility, is my view. And also, I don't like what he said about Israel, by the way, too.
I don't like what he said about Israel either, and I'm not even from Israel, and I'm not Jewish.
You're from near your family's from near Israel, by the way, Lebanon.
And a kick in the pants.
Yeah.
Is what I think it was. I'm going to go to see my Palestinian brothers. Is that something like to that effect?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, the Palestinian.
Because Muhammad Ali he supported the Palestinians. What does that mean?
I don't know what that means either. I mean, frankly, I don't know if Muhammad Ali really did that much there, to be honest. I mean, I don't know why he's bringing that up. But here's my issue. Look, he's a jerk, and I think he's a liar, and if, this turns out that he was singled out and he's in the right, I will totally stand corrected. But my issue is the NFL isn't investigating this. Look what they do investigate. And frankly, there are some things, there are a couple black men who've been done wrong, who were not arrested, who were suspended and made an example of out of domestic violence. And I've long had a problem with the way that was handled.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. No misconduct, no reason to investigate.
No. There was, there was misconduct with Ray Rice, but I have a problem with extrajudicial criminal proceedings. I don't like the way that was handled, and he married the wife, and the police didn't arrest him. I have a problem with people when it's such a
I have a problem with that.
What's that?
I feel the same way you do. I don't understand that either.
Ray Rice was made an example of and done wrong. Yeah, he shouldn't have done that with his wife. But they were married, and they still were married and raising the kid together. He shouldn't have lost his livelihood because of that. You want a black man done wrong, that's the one. But I don't like the NFL's politics for a lot of reasons, and they won't investigate this. And this is after they're essentially spitting on police officers and people, veterans, with the flag, with the Kaepernick thing. Oh, you have the right to do this. We appreciate your commitment to free speech. No. This is an extreme slander, and this is wrong.
This has nothing to do with free speech. The letter that they wrote back was the most inane reasoning. I just don't. And then they wonder why. And then the guy goes out yesterday, Bennett, and he kneels again.
Right.
Maybe the Las Vegas police should have just played the national anthem to get him to stop running, get on the ground.
He's consistent at least. The guy's an all-around jerk, but if the NFL says they're allowed to do that, so be it. But I want to know how he can make this up and still be allowed to play. How is he not suspended? If people use certain words. I don't
understand that either.
And that's got to sour people in Las Vegas about essentially subsidizing millionaires coming there with their money. I mean, what reaction have you had in Las Vegas to this?
Well, as you can see I can see from Twitter and from a lot of people that I know, from a lot of the stuff on Facebook and Twitter that live in Vegas, totally against Michael Bennett. Absolutely and totally against him. They said that, and I also follow the LVMPD on Twitter and on Facebook, and if they're wrong, I'll be the first one to tell you that.
Right.
That they should not have done that, what were they doing? But then when I look back and I think about it, think of when it was, the day, the hour, who was there, who was running and who wasn't. He was the only one not running, crashed behind a machine. So for me, it was like, I tend to believe when the assistant police chief, or whatever his official title was, he came out and said, no, my men didn't do anything wrong. They did protocol. They did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Yeah. And Las Vegas, let's not forget, is a Democrat-leaning city. It's the rest of Nevada, which is Republican. So it's not like we're talking about some I mean, they're used to a lot of diverse people. My God. And the nerve. There's no proof.
And then he gets on TV this morning and he says, I was thinking about my kids. How am I going to tell my 10-year-old daughter? Well, here's what you're going to tell your 10-year-old daughter, Mr. Bennett. Don't be a jackass.
Right.
If the police say stop, I don't care who you are, stop. Why would you run? Jump barriers, run out into oncoming traffic. Tell your daughter not to do that. That she needs to understand it doesn't matter what color you are. If you're running when a cop says stop, you're going to have an issue.
Yep. Yep. No sympathy whatsoever.
I have no sympathy, and you won't find sympathy from very many people in this city either.
And the Las Vegas Review-Journal is reporting this in a way that's not friendly to Bennett, and they're not a conservative paper at all. They're pretty liberal, right?
Well, they're kind of in between. I want to say they've gotten more in between. I see not so drastic against Trump as I did the last year. It's different this year. It's different than it was last year.
Have they had a change of ownership?
I don't know if they had a change of ownership if it was last year. They did change hands. I want to say it was a year or two ago, though.
Okay.
I'm not positive. Don't quote me on that. I do think that they did change. And the story started to change a lot. The Sun is very liberal.
Oh, okay.
Very, very liberal.
There. Okay.
The Review-Journal is not.
Got it. And
and even the Las Vegas Sun is not real happy.
They're not real happy about what?
Bennett. I mean, even they're not on his side.
Oh, really? So so you have a version of the New York Daily News basically going against Bennett too. So this story is going to unravel. The question I have
I don't see anybody who's on his side. Have you seen anything? I mean, I looked everywhere to see if I could find some article somewhere that says, "Oh, this black man it's a racist police." I haven't seen anything.
My guess is a lot of people think he's a jerk. Even people liberal. I wonder what his teammates think of him. My guess is he's a loudmouth. Probably a good player. I mean, he's a good player, but I'm guessing a lot of people probably think he's a jerk.
Well, the argument is that you can't compare him to Kaepernick when it comes to being a complete moron, because the guy is a much better player than Kaepernick was.
Yeah.
And but I think that he is slowly digging a hole.
By the way,
probably not going to be able to get out of.
Kaepernick did not accuse anyone in anything specific like this. There's a difference between accusing specific people and having a general problem, but where you're not really accusing innocent people. We can't say Kaepernick did that, on anything more than a general level.
Saying that people, they were, kind of comparing the two because Kaepernick nobody will hire him.
Right.
And now this guy, if he chooses, because now according to his lawyer, John Burris is his lawyer, according to him, they're going to be suing the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
Lots of people say they're going to sue people and then don't when the headlines are off, because lawyers have to worry about
unless something changes drastically that we don't know of. That's what they said this morning.
Right.
Unless something changes drastically that we don't know of, we're gonna file a lawsuit. Good luck with that, buddy.
Usually you would say we have filed a lawsuit, but there's a difference between we have filed and we are going to.
Right.
In the sense that if you file a frivolous one, you may get disbarred.
Right.
Something like that. Good luck with that.
Good point.
And you may lose your reputation. Anyone gonna file a lawsuit. That's not hard to do. And then, there's no consequences if you don't. You say, we changed our mind. Interesting. Not what the NFL needs. Have you been following this Jamela Hill story?
Oh, yes. Did you? You must have missed my post.
I did miss your post. What did you have to say there?
About Jamela. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I can't believe she's still working. For one thing, she's a sports show person, correct?
And I hear she's awful. She's always trying to be hip and fresh.
I never watched her, but all I can say is that
her writing
millions of Americans will address the bigotry of her.
Yeah.
Because why? They have wallets.
Yeah.
And those wallets, they use that money to go to Disney, to buy products that are being pushed on ABC, to watch ESPN, which has lost 13 million subscribers in the past, year?
Something like that.
2 years? I mean, come on. And then she gets, we're gonna talk to her about it. Talk to her about what? You talk to somebody when you drop the red wine on the carpet.
Yep.
You don't talk to somebody who should be suspended.
Yeah, I don't think you even need to have a talk. Yeah, I think you say, thank you for your service here, get out of here. You have 5 minutes to pack up your things.
Yeah, we had a conversation with her. A conversation with her about what?
Right.
How not to be a complete jerk, how not to, how to just do your job and don't worry about anything else, or what was the conversation about?
Exactly.
Don't call our president names?
If you have to explain something like this, imagine if it had been Obama and they did something like this.
You think?
Yeah, exactly. But I want to see what the backlash is. I do want to see people at a football game. Well, maybe they just boycott the NFL, but be outside one in the tailgate behind someone. When are you going to say, yes, you know how there was CNN sucks during the presidential race? People would shout that out there. I want to see some more of that for ESPN. Like people mocking ESPN during live coverage would be great. I would love to see that. And doing it at Disney World, for that matter, too. Or outside Disney World. Don't pay the price. Say, F Jamel Hill or whatever. Enough of this crap.
Well, you know what they're saying? Disney reopened today.
Yeah?
When most people don't have power, they have their own generators and their own power.
Well, I don't blame them for that.
Disney in Florida opened today.
Okay.
People were not very happy.
Well, I can't blame them for that unless they're getting power that might go elsewhere. But if Disney provides its own power and came prepared for it, and by the way...
They provided their own power, but people are saying that they should be more considerate with the surrounding, for the people that have had damages and their homes are lost and it's flooding and they can't get back into their homes and they're opening up Disneyland.
What are they supposed to do?
America.
Disney World. What are they supposed to do, though? I mean, really, if they came prepared. And by the way, I'm not sure Orlando, that area in Kissimmee, is about as inland as you can be in Florida, which is why they got the land so cheap originally. So who knows? What were they supposed to do? Of course they're doing that. If they're saying, if the government is allocating resources to Disney World that they might not be devoting elsewhere, that's another story altogether.
Nothing to do with that. Nope.
Yeah. All right. Bad form, but so be it, so be it. I can't fault them for that. I can fault them for not immediately firing Jamel Hill, but I fault them for hiring her in the first place. Just a pathetic affirmative action hire. I mean, she's not even cute. I mean, some of the women are cute that they have there who aren't that good, but...
Yeah, well, as I was looking on her page, a lot of the stuff on the page has nothing to do with sports whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's not well written either.
Her pinned post is from December 6, 2016, and it's a picture of her with Obama.
Yay. She's about twice as wide as he is, by the way.
No.
Yeah, someone said, what a witch. I said, I don't think aerodynamically a broom could sustain her very well.
Yeah, right?
So let me fact you. So her writing's not very good. I mean, it's just not. I mean, it's just...
Well, I still fail to see why nothing was done.
Because ESPN is so far gone that... Whatever.
Well, they're so liberal. And then they have ABC. I mean, look at ABC. Look at Miss America. You saw what they did on Miss America on Sunday, right?
I did see that. That was pathetic.
Out of 5 questions, 5 of them were about, so President Trump's a piece of crap. So how do you think he did it?
Yeah,
what do you think of how crappy he is?
Yeah, the white supremacist. Yeah. The other thing I was going to say about ESPN, look, they fired Kurt Schilling, who was a good conservative over there. I mean, I don't think he was the greatest reporter. I don't think he has the greatest voice, but it was related to him tweeting, even though they had told him not to do so, and he did it again about I don't say radical Islam, about Islam, but I think he called it radical Islam. I just call it Islam. But, ESPN's been like this. Remember the way they would sit there and say, oh, President Obama is about to reveal his March Madness picks. And, the whole thing, Obama was a baller as opposed to a guy who was probably taller than everyone at his high school and certainly more black than everyone in his high school. Never got any playing time on his basketball team. They tried to make him into this baller. Like he was some sort of athlete. Like we should care what he said about college basketball. And they would just suck up to him so much. I mean, it's so lame. But you know what? I look at it. People watch too much professional sports and college sports in the first place, and I've certainly been guilty of it. And good, anything that ruins ESPN.
I'm a gymnast, So I didn't really, I mean, I was a cheerleader for about 4 years,
Right.
but I never really, you know, it was high school sports, but I was a gymnast. I was training for the Olympics. I was, you know, on a very different level than most, you know, the kids who, I was in the gym 6 hours a day, you know, 7 days a week. I was training. I literally was, you know, toe points for, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes, the way the Russians do it, and the whole bit. And so that's about as far as I go when it comes to watching sports. My father loves to watch certain teams play, but he knows, don't let me know, because I am all for boycotting the NFL.
Gotcha. All right, Jodie Rocco, thank you for coming on today and getting your insights. I'll have to get you on sports more often. I do like getting the perspective of people who aren't buying into the whole sports liberal entertainment media complex. I like this kind of perspective. All right, Jodie, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, Adam.